Hi, thanks for joining me. My name's Tim Marvel. Today I want to talk about presenting the numbers. Now, when I get into presenting the numbers, it sounds like such an easy task, but what I'm going to ask you is, what was your process before that? Did you skip any steps? Did I do a really good, professional, enthusiastic meet and greet? Did I welcome the customer? Did I ask him if he'd been here before? Is he here to see anybody in particular? Did I give him my responsibility so I set the deal up so he knows that we're on the same kill? Whatever his thoughts are, we've come to an agreement that I'm going to give him what he needs in order to buy a car or make a decision. As I think about this, I think about, we can stress getting into numbers. And sometimes our focus is, I just want to sell a car, and we skip steps. Don't skip steps. When you get to the numbers, that's where the rubber meets the road, sometimes they say. Sometimes you get to numbers and you haven't done everything up front, so it's more difficult once you sit down and spend time in the numbers. Let me give you a couple numbers historically and why I think it's so important that every customer that walks in your dealership gets numbers. First thing is this. Historically, 100% of the time, if I do not give you numbers, you cannot buy. I haven't asked you to buy. I haven't given you numbers. I haven't tried to move through that process. So sometimes we say, man, I'm not going to give him numbers because he's just going to go shopping. Guess what? He was shopping when he got here. Let's be the difference. Let's be different than a guy up the street. This is not the old days. The other reason is, historically, I know if I do give you numbers, we get into negotiations 50% of the time that you close. They take delivery. Maybe they switch cars. Maybe things happen. If we do everything we're supposed to through our process, presenting numbers shouldn't be difficult. If the history's no mystery, as a friend of mine used to say, which means I have to understand how they bought a car last time. That's part of my process. Did I do everything I'm supposed to before I got into numbers with the customer? And if I did, working with the numbers with the customer is not going to be as difficult. So here's what I want you to discuss out loud within the group. Where do you stub your toe when you're going through your process, and why? Here's what I know. If you don't see some value in what you're doing in your process, you start to eliminate steps in that process. Matter of fact, every year when I work with dealers, I talk about doing something called process evaporation. Well, as consultants, we need to look at our process and see what's evaporated over time. Every year we need to review it, every 6 months. Because guess what? We go through a selling season, we get in a hurry, we cut things out. We got to put them back in because it's costing you gross. And I know that you're here because we're all here, not just because you love seeing these videos with me on it, because you got to make a living. It's about making money. And if it's about making money, I don't want you to work harder, I want you to work smarter. So there's a reason for 100 years we've had a process to walk through. And you know what? We keep refining that process every time we can. Every year we look at the gaps and we go, geez, why didn't we think of that? I can save some time if I do that. Do not skip steps. Follow your process. When you get into numbers, it'll make your life much easier. So thanks. Discuss that in a group. What keeps me from getting into numbers? What keeps me from getting in and out of the numbers quicker? Because sometimes if I'm spending too much time in the numbers, it's going to cost you. So thank you. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.